Welcome back to Cryptography and Network Security series. In this video, we'll be speaking about the ElGamal Cryptosystem. We'll look into the detailed explanation, how the algorithm works. We'll look into the exemplar problems, and we'll see the applications and security aspect of ElGamal Cryptosystem. So make sure you stay tuned till the end. And if you're new to my channel, do check out the CNS playlist. I've tried covering all the important topics of CNS subject. So let's get started. ElGamal Cryptosystem, closely related to Diffie-Hellman key exchange, is a public key crypto system used for both encryption and digital signatures. So in ElGamal crypto system, this is an upgradation of the Diffie-Hellman key exchange. So in previous video, we had discussed the drawbacks of Diffie-Hellman key exchange, right? So if you remember, we had discussed all the drawbacks here. So to overcome these drawbacks, we'll be making use of the ElGamal crypto system. So firstly, it was invented by Tahir ElGamal in 1985. Here we make use of asymmetric key encryption. Okay. So here we have the steps as to how it actually works. So the first step is global public parameters, which are similar to the Diffie-Hellman algorithm. So here we'll have the prime number. A large prime number is selected, and this prime number would be used for the modulus calculations. Okay. Then we have the primitive root alpha. So we are selecting alpha values such that power of alpha mod q will generate all the values from 1 to q minus 1. We know what primitive root of q actually means. So these two are publicly known, and they can be accessed by all participants, right? My next step is key generation. So here Alice will generate the keys. Okay. So Alice will generate her private key and public keys. So for private key, she will select any random integer xa. So xa is the private key for Alice. Xa will be selected such that it lies in the range of 1 to q minus 1. Between 1 to q minus 1, xa should be there. Then coming to public key calculation, we have seen ya is equal to alpha x power a mod q. So this is the same for Diffie-Hellman also, right? So once we have calculated the public key, private key, so public key will get xa and private key will get q, alpha and ya. So I've written it down in this format. Okay, it's not new. Okay, so here these two are the keys for Alice. And coming to Bob encryption. So encryption will happen by Bob using Alice public key now. So like Bob will encrypt the message as follows. So given message should be of m length and random integer should be selected k. So k is the random integer which has to be selected such that it is again in the range of 1 to q minus 1. So after selecting this, I have to compute the one time key, that is capital K. Okay. So for each and every session or each and every transaction, the one time key would be generated. By making use of this one time key, it will make sure that the security and the robustness is increased. So the attacker, even if the attacker gets to know the shared secret key in previous transaction, this transaction he may not be able to use it because each and every time I'm generating a new key. That's why it's called as one time key. So K is equal to ya par k mod q. So this is the formula to generate the one time key. After generating the one time key, I'll calculate the ciphertext. Ciphertext pairs. Okay. So first C1 is equal to a par k mod q. So this small k, a par k mod q. So small k is the random integer. Okay. And capital K is the one time key. Then we have C2, which is equal to the capital K mod capital K M mod Q. M is the length of the given text. Okay. So after this, we have the decryption process. Next, we have decryption. So decryption would be done by Alice by making use of her private key. So Alice will decrypt the ciphertext pair C1 and C2, and then firstly she'll recover the one-time key, and after that, after receiving the one-time key, she'll be able to get the M value, that is the message. So here we have two formulae, that is K is equal to, in order to get the key, it is C1 into XA. XA is the private key of Alice into mod Q. And then in order to get the M value, we are making use of K here. So whatever K is obtained here, we have to find modulo inverse of that K. So it is C2 into K inverse mod Q. So that's how we get the decryption. So this was about the encryption and decryption. This figure speaks about the ElGamal crypto system. So firstly, we have the global known elements are prime numbers and the alpha value, that is primitive root. And here key generation is happening. So firstly, Alice will generate the public private key pair, and then Alice will choose the private key, which is a random number, and after that she'll calculate the public key. So that is ya is equal to alpha xa mod q, and then public key private key pair is being depicted here. On the encryption by Bob using Alice private key, so plain text is there. He'll select a random integer, and then Bob will compute the one-time key, that is K value, capital K, and then Bob will encrypt the message M as a pair of C1 and C2. So here we have, after finding the values C1 and C2, ciphertext is depicted here. For decryption process, it will be done by Alice. So Alice will receive the ciphertext first, and then she will recover the one-time key by computing this value, and then she'll also get the plain message back. So here basically what we are doing is Bob will make use of Alice public key and random number to create one-time key. So this one-time key, it will be used to encrypt the message. Here ciphertext will include both encrypted version of random number, and it will also include the encrypted message in the C2 part also. That is, Alice needs to compute the key, right? So that will be there in the C2 message, C2 part. So now next, Alice will use her private key and the encrypted random number C1 to get the K value. And after getting the K value, she uses the K and encrypted message C2 to get the M value. This entire ElGamal crypto system actually works. So here mainly we have come across two new things. One is the one-time key, and we are using public key for encryption and private key for decryption process. Moving on further, so that's what I've written down here. Here we'll look into an example. So the global parameters prime number is specified here, alpha value is given, and the length of message is also specified here. Okay, we are ready to solve it. So we'll have Alice key generation. So she'll randomly select a prime number 5 which is less than 19, that is Q value, and after that she'll calculate YA. So in order to get the public key, she'll make use of alpha power XA mod Q, that is 10 power 5 mod 15, 19. She will get 3. So YA value is 3 here. Okay, public key will comprise of first the Q value, followed by that alpha value, and followed by that the public key YA. Okay, next encryption will be done by Bob. So he knows the message length is 17, and he'll consider a random number which is 6 small k, and then he'll compute the K value, capital K value, one time key K value, that is YA power K mod Q. Y is 3, 3 power 6 mod 19. We get answer as 7. So once this is done, we have the ciphertext here. So we have C1 and C2 here. So first we'll calculate the C1, that is alpha power K mod Q. We get the value as 11, and for C2 we make use of the one time key, the length of the message, and mod Q. So we get 5. So we have the ciphertext pair as 11 comma 5. This would be received by the Alice, and Alice has to perform the decryption process. First she will recover the capital K value. In order to get that, capital K is equal to C1 power XA mod Q. So we'll get 7 as the answer, and then computing K inverse. So we are taking K inverse as 7 inverse mod 19. So when we solve this, we'll get the value as 11. And in order to get the M value, we have to perform C2 K inverse mod Q, that is 5 into 11 mod 19. So we get the value as 17 here. So this is one example which is given in textbook. So it is simple to understand and solve. Next, we'll be looking at the how the security aspect works. So if a message must be broken up into blocks and sent as a sequence of encrypted blocks, we make use of a unique value of K should be selected for entire block. So if a entire big message is breaking, so each block of message will have unique small k value. So this K is used for more than one block. Knowledge of one block M1 of the message enables the user to compute other blocks as follows. So for C1 comma 1, we'll be making use of KM1 mod Q, and for C1 comma 2, it is alpha power K mod Q, and for C2 comma 2, it is KM2 mod Q. And combining all this, considering all this, we can generate, if M1, we can take the like ratio part comparison, and we can get, if M1 is known, then M2 can be easily calculated. That is, M2 would be equal to C2 comma 1 inverse, then C2 to M1 mod Q. So next, speaking from the security perspective, the crypto system security will rely on the difficulty of computing discrete logarithmic problem, that is DLP. Okay, to recover Alice private key XA, attacker should know how to solve it. Okay, so this attacker should know how to solve this. Next, to recover the one-time key, attacker would need to know how to solve the k value again. And if q value, the prime number, the prime factor value is large, is sufficiently large, that is, if q is at least greater than 300 decimal digits, then these computations are infeasible, they are not possible. So I've written down all the points here. Next, we have the applications of ElGamal crypto system. So the first one is digital signature. So ElGamal digital signature scheme is like a variant of crypto system. So here this is used to verify the authenticity and integrity of messages. So like these digital signatures, no, they'll form the base for a digital signature algorithm, DSA, which is widely used standard for digital signatures, and it is also a part of digital signature standard. So these could be used for ensuring that the message integrity is saved in dealing with the sensitive communication, or it could be like validating the software updates, ensuring that authenticity is maintained, or it is also used in the blockchain technologies and cryptocurrency transaction verification. Next, we have a security email communication. So ElGamal is used in the S Secure Multi-Purpose Internet Mail Extension (MIME) standard, which provides like end-to-end encryption for email communication, for email transactions. So it will protect the email content from being modified or changed by an attacker or a third person. It provides authentication through, again, digital signatures are used here. Then general encryption and decryption is happening, that is encryption of data. Then we have hybrid crypto systems. Because the computational overload is high for large messages, ElGamal is often integrated into hybrid crypto system. So ElGamal is used to encrypt the session key. Session key is then used with symmetric encryption, that like AES algorithm and all, to encrypt the large data. So here, like this could be seen in large file transfers or like transport layer security protocols and so on. Next, we have standards and frameworks. So pretty good privacy, GNU privacy guard are all these standards. And speaking from the frameworks, so yeah, multiple frameworks are also there which support in various applications. It is also used in the government and military application, secure communication and all. Right. So yes, this was about the ElGamal crypto system. If you have any doubts, do let me know in the comments and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.